Every night while you sleep, your brain is eating parts of itself. Not a metaphor. A literal, documented process, visible under a microscope. Whether it happens slowly or quickly depends entirely on how much sleep you give it. You have slept every night of your life, but almost nothing you believe about those hours is true. Not the 8-hour rule. Not why you dream. Not what rest actually means. In the next 10 minutes, you're going to find out what your brain has actually been doing and what happens to it when you don't. Two things most people believe about sleep, both completely wrong. First, sleep is rest. Your brain switches off. Nothing happens. Wrong. During certain stages of sleep, your brain is measurably more active than when you're working. Second, the 8-hour rule is scientific fact. Also wrong. That number was never derived from a controlled study. It is a cultural artifact, not a biological one. Here is exactly what this video covers. In your first 90 minutes of sleep, the system your brain activates the moment you enter deep sleep. The one that removes Alzheimer's-linked proteins. Around hour 3 of sleep, what it does with everything you learned and felt today. And why Edison napped in a chair holding steel balls. And the part that changes everything. What starts happening to your brain physically when neither of those gets to run? Before 2013, scientists believed something close to what most people still believe. That sleep is essentially downtime. Then researchers at the University of Rochester applied a new imaging technique to the sleeping brain and found a system no one knew existed. They called it the glymphatic system. Here is why your brain needs it, and why nothing else could do this job. Every other organ in your body removes waste through the lymphatic network. Your brain cannot use that system, so it built its own, and it runs on a mechanism that would seem impossible if the scans didn't prove it. While you're awake, your brain's support cells, called astrocytes, are expanded to full size. Almost no space between them. When you enter deep sleep, those cells shrink by 60%. 60%. That is not a rounding error. The cells are physically pulling themselves inward, creating wide channels throughout your brain. Through those channels, cerebrospinal fluid floods in, and it flushes out everything that accumulated during the day, including a protein called amyloid beta. Amyloid beta builds up in the brain throughout every waking hour. It is the primary substance found in the plaques that define Alzheimer's disease. Your glymphatic system, running every night during deep sleep, is specifically designed to flush it out. Skip deep sleep, and the flush doesn't run. The amyloid stays. Night after night, the accumulation continues. This is the most direct biological mechanism we currently have, linking chronic sleep deprivation to Alzheimer's disease. Not a theory, a mechanism, and it only runs while you sleep. That covers the first hour of your sleep. But around hour 3, your brain switches to something completely different. Something Thomas Edison understood before neuroscience could explain it. And it is, without question, the most creative mental state any human being can access. During the first half of your sleep, your brain is cleaning, removing what shouldn't be there. Around hour 3, it starts building, reorganizing everything that happened today. This is the domain of REM sleep, rapid eye movement. During REM, your hippocampus begins replaying the day, but not randomly. It selects the moments that carried emotional weight, the information you used more than once, the skills you practiced, and begins transferring those from short-term storage in the hippocampus to long-term storage distributed across the cortex. This is memory consolidation. And here is the thing most people get completely backwards about it. Sleep doesn't just help you remember. It helps you decide what to forget. While the hippocampus strengthens meaningful memories, it simultaneously prunes the meaningless ones, clearing space, resetting your cognitive workspace for the next day. This is why a problem you couldn't solve the night before sometimes has an obvious answer in the morning. Your brain spent the night processing it, connecting it to patterns you couldn't access while awake. Thomas Edison understood this intuitively, 40 years before the science confirmed it. He would nap in a chair, holding steel balls in his hands. The moment sleep took him, the balls would fall. The crash would wake him. Right at the edge. He was right about what was happening there. He just didn't have the neuroscience to explain why. What he was harvesting is called the hypnagogic state, the brief window between waking and sleep. In this state, the brain is simultaneously processing recent experience and relaxing its normal logical filters. It produces heightened associative thinking, unusual connections between unrelated ideas. It is, empirically, one of the most creative mental states a human being can access. So your sleeping brain is cleaning itself, building memory, generating insights. And then, there's what happens when it doesn't get to do any of that. This is the part sleep researchers are most alarmed about. Your brain has two types of immune cells that maintain it while you sleep. Astrocytes, which run the glymphatic flush, and microglia, your brain's active immune defense, patrolling for damage and pruning old connections. Under normal conditions, this is essential maintenance. But in 2017, researchers at the Marche Polytechnic University in Italy studied chronically sleep-deprived subjects and found something that alarmed the entire sleep science community. In sleep-deprived brains, the microglia didn't maintain their precision. They went into overdrive. They stopped pruning only the old and damaged. They began consuming healthy, active synapses. The astrocytes, the cleaning crew, also became hyperactive, breaking down material that didn't need breaking down. The researchers described what they observed in one phrase: the brain beginning to eat itself. Those are the researchers' words, not a dramatic title, a clinical description of what appeared in the scans. Now, the cognitive cost, measured in a unit you'll immediately understand. After just 17 hours without sleep, cognitive function drops to the equivalent of a blood alcohol level of 0.05%. After 24 hours, 0.10%. Legally impaired, in most countries, on no alcohol at all. And here is the part most people still get wrong. They think, I'll catch up on sleep at the weekend. You can recover the feeling of being rested. You cannot reverse synaptic damage. The connections your microglia removed do not come back. Weekend sleep restores how you feel. It does not restore what was lost. So what does the research show actually works? Not duration, not supplements, not apps. 3 things, all free, and none of them what most people focus on. DTC, darkness, temperature, consistency, darkness, complete darkness. Your brain produces melatonin in response to the absence of blue spectrum light. Even ambient light, a phone standby, a TV, a street light through curtains, suppresses production and delays deep sleep. You don't need darkness to fall asleep. You need it to fall into the deep sleep where the cleaning system activates. Temperature, your bedroom, not your comfort. Your core body temperature must drop by approximately 1 degree Celsius for deep sleep to engage. The optimal bedroom temperature for this is between 18 and 20 degrees Celsius. Most people sleep too warm, and most people never reach the deep sleep where the cleaning actually happens. Consistency, and this is the most important of the 3. Your circadian rhythm, the internal 24-hour clock governing every biological process, runs on timing, not duration. Going to sleep and waking at the same time every day, including weekends, is the single highest leverage change in sleep quality available to you. Not how many hours, when, and whether it's the same every day. Darkness, temperature, consistency. These 3 things cost nothing and do more for your brain's nightly maintenance than any supplement, app, or mattress. Last night while you slept, your brain cells shrank to flush out toxic waste. Your hippocampus replayed and filed the most important parts of your day. Whether either of those got to finish depended on what you gave it. Now you know the mechanism, and knowing the mechanism is the beginning of working with it. Subscribe, Because every week we go exactly this deep into what your body is running, without asking your permission. Next week, something even more surprising than your brain. A system inside your body that has more influence over your mood, your hunger, and your decisions than most people realize. 500 million neurons. 90% of your body's serotonin produced not in your brain, but somewhere else entirely. And decisions being made below your consciousness, right now, without once consulting your brain. It gets weirder.